We're going to look at the properties of parallelograms. In a parallelogram, opposite sides are parallel. Notice the top and bottom are parallel, the sides are parallel. Also, opposite sides are congruent. Notice those two are longer, these two are shorter. Both pairs of opposite angles are congruent. So if you notice, these two obtuse angles are congruent, these two acute angles are congruent. And angles next to each other, notice we have an obtuse angle and an acute angle in this specific parallelogram. They're not congruent, but they're supplementary. So they're going to add up to 180 degrees. All angles that are next to each other. And then finally, diagonals bisect each other. So each diagonal is cutting the other one in half. So that's true about all parallelograms. A rectangle is a specific type of parallelogram, meaning it has all of these properties, plus it has to have 4 right angles, and then the diagonals, not only do they bisect each other, but the diagonals are congruent. Notice they weren't congruent here. These two are going to be shorter than the ones that are going further out. A rhombus is another specific type of parallelogram, so all of the properties of parallelograms are true, but then also all 4 sides are congruent, and then the diagonals, not only do they bisect each other, but they're perpendicular. Also, diagonals bisect both pairs of opposite angles. So opposite angles are still congruent, but the diagonals are bisecting them, meaning this angle is going to be congruent to this angle. This angle is congruent to this angle. Same with the other two, but then also the property of parallelograms still holds true, that this angle is going to be congruent to this angle. And same with the others being congruent to each other. And then finally we have a square. A square is not only a parallelogram, but also a rectangle and a rhombus. So all of the properties for parallelograms, rectangles, and rhombuses all hold true for a square. This flowchart might help organize everything in your head, where parallelograms are at the top, rectangles are a specific type of parallelogram, so all of the properties of parallelograms hold true. Rhombuses are a specific type of parallelogram, and then squares have all of those other properties.